Beep, 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 beep. Welcome to the court of the EDI Jester. I am a man, once again, with tea. Here we go. I'll become warrior teacher, join my Substack. Subscribe, that's the most important thing. Please subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications so you know when I'm speaking. But if you can do that, please subscribe. It helps me so much once we get there with lots of people. My life will be a lot easier. Here we go. Published on the 16th of July. An important article from the Telegraph. Charles Hymas is the reporter, the Home Affairs editor for the Telegraph, who reports on this very important development, which is, I suppose, I would say a move forward, if not a total move in the right direction. Trans prisoners moved out of women's jails after Isla Bryson scandal. The Ministry of Justice tightens rules to identify transgender prisoners as potential risks to protect women. Transgender prisoners have been moved out of women's jails in England and Wales as potential security risks in the wake of the Isla Bryson scandal, which you recall is what led to the downfall of wee Jimmy Cranky up there in Scotland, that ridiculous woman, now gone and replaced by Humza Useless. What's Scotland playing out? So that transgender prisoners have been moved out of web. They're moving them out, right? What that should say is men. Men, or male prisoners, have been moved out of women's jails in England and Wales as potential security risks in the wake of the Isla Bryson scandal. Why did it take the Isla Bryson scandal for us to recognise that men in women's prisons are a risk? Have we completely lost all sense of reality? Have we? At least two males, right, transgender inmates have been transferred to men's jails, has been transferred to the jail in which they belong, right? Or a special transgender wing. For God's sake, they're going to put them all in together. As a transfer to a men's jail or a special transgender wing. Will that be like a vulnerable person's wing or something? I'm sure it will. So they've been transferred to men's jail or a special transgender wing. So what does that mean? Is the special transgender wing in the female prison or is it in the male prison? Because if it's in the male prison, whoopee, we're going the right way. If it's in the female prison, it's like, hang on. No, we're not both siding this, folks. There is no reason for them to be there. A review has identified the transgender prisoners as potential risks because they were sex offenders or had convictions for serious violence, including murder, attempted murder, and kidnap. They had these men in women's jails. Jesus Christ, on a bike. We've changed the rules so transgender women who've been convicted of sexual or violent offences or who retain male genitalia cannot be held in a woman's prison unless in truly exceptional circumstances, said a government spokesman. I would say, I'll define those truly exceptional circumstances for this government spokesman. Those truly exceptional circumstances would be if God appeared in Piccadilly Circus, picked a bloke, whacked him on the head with some godly hammer, and that bloke immediately became Felicity Kendall. That's the only circumstances. And then Felicity went out and committed a crime. What kind of crime would Felicity Kendall commit? She'd steal a bag of sugar from the local grocers. That's the kind of thing she gets older, gets a bit dotty. She becomes a kleptomaniac. That's the only circumstances. There's no other circumstances in which it's okay. What the hell are they playing at? Oh, we must both sides. If we don't want to lose the electorate, lose them. Lose them. Because what will happen is we'll show up how many of the population are completely insane when we have the election. Make the noise. Make the election about this. Make the election about reality. Make the election about Labour's batty beliefs and some of your guys and girls who you could do with getting rid of. Make it about it. Make it all about this because you've got nothing to lose now. Nothing to lose. Wake the public up. Public information campaign about the dangers of gender identityology, the dangers of the LGBTQI plus cult, which has nothing to do with gays and lesbians and bisexuals. That's what you do. Oh. This government is clear that biological sex matters, and our common sense approach means well over 90% of transgender women in custody are held in men's prisons. The government is clear that biological sex matters, except for the 10%. You can't do that. You can't do it. You don't want to go to jail, don't commit the crime. I don't care who you are. Right, Dominic Raab, the former Justice Secretary, strengthened the rules in England and Wales after the controversy over Isla Bryson. Well, Dominic, we're going in the right direction, but nowhere near fast enough in my book. Bryson, a transgender woman found guilty of raping 2 women, and they've got transgender and woman separate. You know, it should just be trans woman, which is what they are. You know, men. Found guilty of raping 2 women before transitioning, was initially sent to the all-female Cornton Vale prison before an outcry forced the Scottish government to reverse the move. It subsequently launched a review of prison rules for transgender inmates. The MOJ declined to disclose how many transgender prisoners have been transferred out of the female state, but confirmed a number had been. It is thought that could be as many as 6. Last year, there were 168 legally male trans women prisoners in England. Right, this legally male thing is confusing for the public. That's because we're talking about the law, right? There's such a thing in theory. What they will need is, last year there were 168 male trans women prisoners. And trans women is one word, by the way, not 2. Male, just males. In England and Wales, only 6 were in women's prisons, while the rest were in men's prisons. So that's just cross-dressers, LARPers, you know, moob fumblers, just the usual bunch of reprobates. Fine, get on with that, I don't care. Right, a further 11, and there were only 6 were in women's prisons, with the rest in men's prisons. A further 11 prisoners had legally switched gender by obtaining gender recognition certificates. Research shows that men jailed for sexual offences are twice as likely to identify as trans women compared with men jailed for other type of offences. There, you get it? You get it? That means that somebody who takes on a trans identity, regardless of whether they've got any kind of illness and they're just LARPing, it doesn't matter what they're doing, that anybody, but particularly males, these are the ones you want to watch, you know, mid-30s, early 40s, possibly from engineering or highly masculinized environments that have been fumbling at their daughters' knickers for years. And now they come out and go, I'm trans, give me the titty skittles, as Adjo would say. These people are twice as likely to commit a sexual offence. That's not a little difference. That's like, whoa, warning. Not all of them, don't be daft, but there's not all men, in it. But how'd you tell? How'd you tell it's not all men? Well, you say all men are capable of this, and then you have safeguarding in place, which is the one thing that seems to get forgotten here. Safeguarding, which means that men can't do nefarious things that men do. And other men recognise, fine, I want to work with children and I have to have the check, same as women do. Everybody has it, right? But that's a hell of a thing. Research shows that men jailed for sexual offences are twice as likely to identify as trans women compared with men jailed for other types of offences. So that's either self-ID failing, or there's an enhanced criminality above fetishists and paraphiliacs who cross-dress and all the stuff that comes with it, right? So which is it? They'll start Mott and Bailey soon. Yeah, what we mean is the people who have severe dysphoria. You didn't mean that when you put the umbrella together, so don't go snarkily trying to sneak out everybody from under that now, because we'll see you. All right? True trans. There's no such thing. End of story. Look at the mess it's got us in. But even that, the Gender Recognition Act 2004 has caused an unbelievable mess, coupled with the utterly flawed Equality Act as I now see it. Get it gone. Repeal the GRA. Let's get back to reality. The MOJ's approach differs from Scotland's. In England and Wales, transgender women can only be held in a female jail if a risk assessment by a complex case board says it is safe to do so. In Scotland, there is a presumption they will be held according to self-declared gender identity unless there are concerns about risk. Says it all. Says it all, right? Says it all. From the very beginnings of this back in the day, and they'll rattle on about, the Danish girl and wonderful stuff during the war, and none of it's true. It was always Frankenstein territory. Always. One of the main surgeons from the war, from one of the pioneering places that was chopping people up, ended up working for the Nazis on the eugenics program. It's always been what it is, right? And then in the 70s, when John Hopkins had a go, they went, oh no, this is causing severe problems, not just for individuals, but it will do it on a societal level. We know that now. Repeal the GRA, end this fantasy, end it, ban transition of any kind. I would ban it completely. And that's because we now know the iatrogenic harms, the increased suicide risk, the osteoporosis, blindness, everything else that comes with it. We now know this stuff's there. We're going to see it more and more. The fact that the dementia does what it does. They wake up every morning and they've forgotten they even transitioned because it's not real. Right? It's horrifying. It's utterly horrifying. We're creating people who are going to be dependent on the state for medicine for the rest of their lives. And I, for one, as a taxpayer, ain't going to pay it. It needs to stop. All right? Absolutely all of it. So we've now got fudging going on. They're fudging the women in prison thing. They're fudging it because they're trying to both sides it. They're fudging it. They're fudging the women in prison thing. They are fudging the guidance for schools. That is going to be a huge fudge and a dangerous fudge because the first lens that should be seen through is safeguarding, and that's not what we're seeing. Do better. Now, I know that there is work, great work being done in the background by, for example, Kemi Badenoch, Miriam Cates, but I also know that there are people within the Conservative Party who seem to think that this is something that's not worth dealing with or is not a problem, or they're trying to both sides it. Same with the NHS. Same with the NHS. From what I can gather, Hilary Cassie's doing a great job, but there's somebody at the top there beavering away in there. There'll be a bloke there in the background somewhere with some connection to this in some way. LGBTQI+, strip it away, and what do you get? Male desire. Male desire. It's a men's rights movement. Go and have some fun, all right? Because this stuff's dark. Go and have some fun. I'll see you later.